Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Merry Christmas, Dan. Lockdown is over, kind of.
Is it?
Well, kind of.
Okay.
Because we're back in the football.
Yeah. Back in there.
Back in there. There was a mad
Some people
flurry.
were. Couple turned up.
Couple turned up last night, and it was a mad flurry that took about 90 minutes for people to buy up those tickets instantly.
Yeah. Well, it didn't sell out. I guess it's no surprise, the Papa John's Cup. But, I thought people would be desperate to get back in there.
I'm desperate.
Well, you didn't even go.
No, I didn't. That's true. I was working, but I'll be there on Saturday.
Yes.
But anyway, last Saturday, none of us could go, but some absolute Cheltenhams got to go. And I have to say, lockdown seems to have done them good. They seem to have a better attendance than normal at Cheltenham.
Hey.
So,
I think that's given them an unfair advantage and it should be struck from the records.
Oh, dear. It was a mad old game, as they say. Exeter City came away defeated 5-3.
Yes. A big loss.
Even worse when you consider that City went 1-0 up after 4 minutes.
Yeah. It's a strange thing's happened when you scored 3 goals away from home and you've still lost.
Yeah, indeed. And you're not playing, there was no split. It wasn't like, we were 3-0 up and then 3 of our men got sent off. It was just chaos, essentially. Archie Collins put us ahead, like I said, on 4 minutes with a shot that got massively deflected.
Yep.
It didn't seem to matter much.
That's his best chance of hitting the target, isn't it? Big deflection.
It was a big deflection. And then old boy Circum came back and he bit me right on the backside with his equaliser after 7 minutes.
Yeah.
He looked kind of apologetic.
He did. He didn't celebrate.
No.
So, whatever. Cheers. That's of very little comfort to me. Next time, mate, try just not scoring. If you really want to ingratiate yourself with your old supporters.
Well, indeed. It didn't matter. He did score. But then that was not even cancelled out, but superseded.
Yeah, we're 3-1 down by half time.
Diabolical, really.
I mean,
where did it all go wrong?
What we've seen, I think, is the bad side of the kind of chaotic football that we've kind of been responsible for this year. We've said a few times we're going to have to outscore them, people. It was like that, It's sort of like we're very good attacking, but we're going to concede vast amounts of goals, So it's not like we just need to keep. We need to score 3 or more, and it turns out in this game we would have needed to score 6 to outscore Cheltenham.
We've kind of become the kid who goes in goal. He's got no shirt on because he's taken it off as a goalpost, even though there's a cone nearby. That kid, and brings it out from goal, and he's just going to take on everyone, and he didn't care about the open goal behind him. He's just going to plough on, and City seem to have become that, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like that. Yeah, does that happen a lot where you grew up?
Yeah, I can think specifically of 3 people that did that.
Yeah, I mean, we've reaped the benefits of it, of this kind of like free-flowing attacking football where we're brilliant going forward, but it's. I was saying to you just before we started recording, it's almost. I'm not quite sure the timeline on this because obviously can't remember anything, but it seemed like playoff final last year we forgot how to defend crosses. And we've just carried on from then. And it's like every single... I mean, if this is going to get worked out quickly, and I'm surprised more teams haven't got on this kind of bandwagon of just going, let's just stick the ball in the box, cross the ball as much as we possibly can into their box, and you will score. We have no idea how to defend crosses to the point where it's like actually a bit weird.
Yeah, I wonder if people have worked this out, and maybe on Saturday it was. I don't think Key or Sparks had their best games, and maybe that there were just more opportunities for crossing.
Yeah, that's true. But in a way, don't you think they're being a little bit hung out? Key and Sparks being a little bit sort of hung out to dry, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, fullbacks can only stop the cross. No one expects them to stop all the crosses.
And like we said last week, they're not fullbacks. Both those people are converted wingers.
Yeah.
And they're young kids. Now, what you've got is young kids at fullback, but you've got experience and supposedly sort of strength at centre-back in Parks and Sweeney. Now, a couple of those goals, it's sort of like, I mean, they're perfectly easy to clear, and they should have been in better position. They should have been marking for corners. They should have been jumping at least, competing with their strikers, and we just let them. It's just it's so weird. It's like weird that we've got a centre back like Matt Taylor for a manager, and yet our biggest flaw is that we can't defend across whoever it is for our lives. You know,
it's also curious at the least that all of our transfer targets this summer were defenders, and yet we've made it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, we have made it worse, haven't we?
Definitely.
Think about this time last year, we were 1-0 experts, and I admit we had other problems, and we were bemoaning where the winning goals were coming from. But
yeah, and ultimately, like I said, it did boil down to this team. We lost by this exact thing in the playoff final, including some of those defenders we had last year, like Aaron Martin, who obviously was let go, and he was culpable at times in that playoff final for this. But then it's shown that the replacements are, no better, and if anything, much worse. You know, like Mercado didn't play on Saturday, but he played on. We'll come on to the Papa John's that happened last night, and hopeless. And whether he can provide experience and sort of encourage the young players around him, that's valuable. That is a good thing. We do need that. But that guy, he can't defend across. And if a centre-back can't do that, then all the kind of, moral support in the world isn't making up for that.
No. I do wonder if Taylor has to maybe rethink some of his policy on youth, and I don't know how he works this out. Because I think Sparks and Key have been excellent, but if we're honest, they've been excellent going forward. Maybe the time's come for... I'm not sure what the injury status is on Page, but on Caprice, maybe it's time for Caprice to come back in. Maybe we need to give those younger lads a chance in different positions. I don't know.
Yeah.
But obviously the real problem is, if you're a great big hulking centre-back...
It seems such a shame, though, to have to sacrifice... that. What we're doing there essentially is like the plan, and I'm not saying I disagree with it, but the plan is like sacrifice kind of like two kind of revelation young player wingers, homegrown, because the centre-backs that we've bought, who are supposed to be experienced kind of old heads, can't do the job. It's like, it seems so harsh, Or
then we tear up the book the other way and we say that Jordan Dyer and Alex Hartridge step in and we play three at the back, three at the centre-back, and we really utilise Key and Sparks, or whoever, because I think Page and Caprice can both play in that position as well. And that's our...
we also got to factor in Randall Williams and Joel Randall if you're going back to that kind of thing. I mean, we have too many players in those positions to now play that formation without leaving far too many of them out. I don't see how it works. I think we have to persevere with this.
Second problem, of course, then, if we're talking about that, is Matt Taylor's disgust for substitutions. We now can have 5 subs. If he was a different kind of manager, and it's been a very long time since we've had a manager that loved the substitution, but if we had a different kind of manager who was all about that, you can literally change half your outfield team during the course of the game. And if we're so brilliant, and we are, in all those positions, why don't we really think, all right, well, you're going to get 60 minutes and you're going to get 30 minutes, you're going to get 55 minutes and you're going to get 35, and just think, okay, well, each of these players will do a job for a big period of the game. And starting isn't the same as it used to be and all that kind of stuff. Because this is a curious season.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's one way of possibly doing it. Again, I kind of think, you've got to work with what you got. But, January is approaching. And if your problem is essentially we've got to change... We're free scoring at the moment. Even when we lose to Cheltenham, even when we concede 5, we still score 3 goals away. That means that our attack is excellent. Like, it's really, really good.
It's literally the best in the country.
Yeah, even in a heavy loss, we're still brilliant in attack.
Yep.
So it sort of seems like I'd be so reluctant to change that in any way just because our defence are, and not even that they're bad. It's just it's almost one specific area.
Yeah,
it's
fair shout.
It's high balls into the box, and it's just like, what's going on? Just can we, like, I don't know, like, it's not the end of the world, that loss, and I'm not kind of like, but this is an ongoing thing, isn't it?
So you dust off the old checkbook, and you'd. I
can't see another way around it.
I mean, it's a fair comment.
We don't know what goes on the training ground. Maybe they're but it's been going on a while now. So
Yeah, this isn't an isolated incident, is it?
no, and that's the thing is, we almost seem to be sort of defending okay, as like Matt Taylor keeps saying, we defend as a team, and like rather he doesn't want to. Obviously, he doesn't want to hang out his centre backs to dry in his interviews either. So he's always saying it's the whole team's fault. It's like, well, that's true some of the time, and yes, they've been put in there in positions where they can deliver balls into the box, but you're never gonna. You can't stop that happening. You can't stop corners. What you need to do then is like it almost seems like it's isolated incidents where we just not picking up our men. And it's like switching off or whatever it is. I don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess Saturday and Tuesday coming are big moments, aren't they? You know, we recovered well from our last defeat back in September.
Oh, brilliantly, yeah.
So if the same happens again, and if every cross into the box is sent to the land of 1,000 ghosts, then you think like fair dues. But by which I mean the train track. Next to St James Park. Then you think, okay, well they had a bad day at the office, but you're right. I mean, there's a month, isn't there, till the transfer window opens, a bit less.
Yeah, and we got some of that money, didn't we, from the Ollie Watkins transfer? So maybe. That's easier said than done. We don't know what's going on. We don't know who's available or what or how much we could spend or anything about that. But I don't know. It's worth mentioning, isn't it, as a possibility?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the problem is with League Two, and the problem with Exeter City being 3 to 4 hours from London, and further from the northwest, you're going to be limited on the Championship teams. Largely their youth products are already, the good ones are already loaned out. Like we did very well with Anderson, but that was probably fortuitous to some extent. Was he third, fourth choice at Reading? Hadn't played a game. So then you go into the market, and if you're picking up that kind of centre-back, is that going to be any better than Hartridge or Dyer?
No, probably not.
So then you go up a level. Then Premier League defending is actually very different. And I loved, did you hear Neil Warnock on the radio the other day? And they said, Neil, we just want to ask you what you think about Premier League defending at the minute. And he said to me, I haven't seen any in a couple of years. So I think you could go to Manchester City, and if you manage to persuade some kid to come down here, would they be able to do the job that we're asking for? Probably not. I mean, John Stones, who's one of their first choice players, would probably struggle in League Two.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, like what the answer is there. I mean, you'd think maybe the answer would be Rory McArdle.
Well, yeah.
I don't mean him specifically, but like an older, experienced person. But like, I don't know what's happened there. I mean, but he can't defend a corner.
No. I mean, maybe now he's had the coronavirus vaccine, it'll be a bit easier for him.
Hey. Do you know what it is about him, yeah? Like, mostly he's been fine. I'm sure he's a lovely bloke, and he's had some really good games. He's a couple of those back post assists, doesn't he, when we get corner? But he really reminds me of this bloke that married my cousin a few years ago. And
I mean, this is a niche reference, I would say.
And I got kind of like, I think it's just that, it's his association to this bloke. And I went to his wedding. I'd never met him before the wedding, right? And I had to, me and my dad and my brother and my other brother were supposed to be playing one song. We were asked to do, can you play a song as sort of Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. I don't know why. Anyway, I had to do it.
Yeah.
But my oldest brother pulled out last minute, couldn't go to the wedding.
Right.
So it's like, it's all right. This guy, the groom, he can play the drums. He's going to do it. So we're like, all right, fine, okay, this is weird, but I already didn't want to do it. Anyway, Don't Look Back in Anger, right?
Yeah. Drummed by Rory
Very famous song.
Yeah.
Drummed by this bloke who looks like Rory McArdle. He can't be more than 40.
Okay.
He's playing the drums. He knows how to play the drums. He doesn't know the song. Who doesn't know Don't Look Back in Anger when you're 40 and you can play the drums? And you know what he did? And he messed up the fill, iconic drum fill in that song. He messed it up on his own wedding day. And the thing that annoyed me most is he made me look like an idiot on his big day.
Well, it's good you've moved on from these bitter feelings anyways. Okay, so, all right, Rory McArdle. I'm going to stand up for Rory McArdle and say I don't think you can blame him for that.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
All right, okay, fine.
I can't. My brain just makes the association.
Well, what you'd love to see then is coronavirus is over. We have our end of season club banquet, and it turns out that they've put a band together and Rory's on the drums. They play Don't Look Back in Anger, and he absolutely smashes it out of the park.
Hope so.
And it's a promotion party as well.
That'd be perfect.
All right, well, Rory, if we can help you out with that at all, let us know. Well, okay, that was...
I mean, there's the one other thing to mention in that game is what we said, Johnny Maxted's back.
Oh, yeah, JM. The big JM.
Yeah.
M to the Axted.
The very same.
J to the Oni.
So, wait, was he already back? I thought we already talked about old Maxted.
Didn't he play the Tuesday night before?
I think he might have done. Anyway, is that a good thing? I kind of missed the little fella.
I mean, Anderson was excellent, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He exceeded all expectations.
But Maxted gets a lot of stick. That's all I'm saying. And there seems to be quite a lot of debate about who's our best goalkeeper and stuff. And like, obviously, the secret answer is our best goalkeeper is Jokel Anderson. But you know, out of the other two, who is it?
Well, Lewis Ward a year ago, pre-injury, he was our best goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was flying, wasn't he, before that?
Injured. It hasn't, to be honest, in fairness to Lewis Ward, he hasn't had much of a run since, because then it was lockdown and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Maxted made that incredible save, Colchester at home in the playoff semis.
He's made a few in his time as well,
Made a few. Yeah, I mean, he really has made a few, you're right. Especially the new year, so winter 2020, January, February.
He has got a great save in him, hasn't he? Like, for sure. Like, almost a kind of, like, really kind of Hollywood save, But he's not. It's just, if we've got a problem with balls into the box, I kind of feel like he's not. He doesn't fill me with confidence in that either.
What you need something, don't you? You need either a goalkeeper who's going to punch it to kingdom come, puncture the ball as it lands on the roof of the grandstand, or you need a centre back who gets his head on it at all costs, or ideally you need a combination of the two who talk really well together. Maxted is big enough that it shouldn't be a problem. McArdle and Parks are big enough that it shouldn't be a problem, but something's awry there. Now, I don't know if it's that Sweeney isn't really doing what he should be doing, and so whoever's the centre-back feels like they've got to make up.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's... I think that might be being a bit harsh on Sweeney.
Yeah, it might be.
I've not been massive... I'm not sure Parks and McArdle are just victims of Sweeney's poor positioning, even if that is the case. But
we haven't had a good centre-back, really, since JMT.
Well, Troy Brown's the other one I'd say, but then he had all those injuries, didn't he? Yeah.
Consistently. Troy Brown could have been. But JMT, since then, we've really... Jordan Story also, but we never saw him flourish, or it was very brief. And since then, it's been, unfortunately... I think maybe our youngest centre-backs will come through and be that good again.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about Alex Hartridge later on, and that's a possibility, isn't it? But
so you've either got to throw him in at the deep end and just be like, we're going to lose some because of that, but he'll learn a lot very quickly in the style of Ampadu, JMT and Story, or you've got to have better old boys.
Oh, I got another one for you that we had, but it was never really ours.
Who's that?
Dara O'Shea.
Oh, yeah, you're right, O'Shea, yeah.
He was ridiculous.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's playing in the Premier League now, regularly.
Can we have him back? No.
They use him. I read an article, really interesting article, about how much Bilic loves him.
Oh, right, cool.
Really rates him. I think it was an Athletic or a Guardian maybe it was even a Times article. And Bilic is a big fan of O'Shea and sees him being, integral in the future.
Yeah, I'm pleased for him. Yeah, but it doesn't help us.
Doesn't help us. So we need someone. We either need the lone player like that, or we just think, well, actually, the lone player would come in at the same level as Hartridge and Dyer. And you just drop them in at the deep end. And maybe that's what Taylor will do, ultimately. Maybe it is. Because
I feel like something maybe... I mean, does something have to be done about it? Or do you just go with the... We'll try and outscore everybody? And the attack is really that good. If we can keep that up, like Cheltenham are probably a decent... Cheltenham are a decent side, aren't they? And that, against most teams, our performance there would have been enough to win, probably.
They've closed us down very, very quickly. So the things
they really did first half all over the pitch.
The things that we normally get.
I thought they would tire, and in the end, you sort of put yourself in a position where they don't need to keep that up for 90 minutes because you get far enough ahead, and then you kind of
Yeah. And we got lucky on that first goal, the Collins one. So probably, realistically, that kind of pressing could have led them 3-0 up. And then, of course, you don't need the second half response, do you? So I wonder if maybe you're right, and we just take the rough with the smooth and think, well, Sweeney and Parks do a job most of the time. We're scoring for fun.
Yeah.
But you're right. Will that be worked out Will it dry up front?
Seems quite reckless as a policy.
It doesn't seem like a Matt Taylor policy.
No.
And, of course, ultimately, Sweeney's contract runs out in the summer. Will we want to keep him? I'm not sure what Parks' deal is, but that will be his second year, so maybe his contract runs out in the summer. You know, it might well be in Taylor's best interests to give our younger lads the experience now, because centre-back is such an integral position.
Yeah.
That, you know, next season in League One or League Two...
Is Dyer out on loan?
Oh, he might be.
I think he is, and he was just back for the...
Hartridge isn't, is he?
No, he's not. I think Dyer's out on loan possibly, but just is sort of allowed back for those...
Yeah, that's a regular thing, isn't it? I'm just Googling it as we speak. Yeah, you're right, he's at Tiffy Town.
Right.
But, of course, we can stop that at any time, can't we?
Yeah. I think it might only be a sort of month loan or something anyway, or to the end of the season. But
interesting. There's also Smurden, isn't there? Who I believe is a centre back.
No, he's a left back.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah. So he's another one. I mean, we've got two decent kind of.
We're overrun with wing back and winger options, aren't we?
Yeah, we really are.
I mean, obviously we all assumed Randall Williams was going, so I get why we're in this position. But
yeah. The other thing about Saturday, Jose back out of the side.
Yep.
Not on the bench.
No.
Ben Seymour back from injury and back on the subs bench. Came on.
Yeah.
Late on.
Couldn't really do much again. There's more to say about those two, Seymour and Taylor. I think when we talk about the Papa John's Cup in a bit. Okie doke. Well, maybe that's the time for that now. See you in a second. Welcome back. And we're talking about the Papa John's Trophy. My dad, I don't think this is true, but it's a good joke. He's been pretending that one of his mates thinks it's called Paper John's, like sponsored by a paper shop.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I'd like that. I mean, that would really take it down to the kind of level it deserves. We managed to get Barry's Paper Shop to sponsor it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the next step, I think, probably for this. Yeah.
Paper John's. But sadly, Exeter City did not deliver.
unlike Papa John's himself, who I've heard are very reliable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was our old foes, Northampton Town.
Yep.
It was Cobblers from
We're back
Grecians.
in there. We're back in the ground. It's been 9 months.
Oh, yeah, that's the important thing. You were there.
I went to the match. I watched a football match in person.
How did it feel?
I was on the big bank.
How did it feel?
It felt good. It was good. It was great to be back. It really was. And it's not the same, I'll tell you that. But it's still good.
And it's a start, innit? Hopefully it's the start.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It was actually a very bizarre experience. Seeing sort of stood there, hardly anyone on the big bank.
So you had a whole rail to yourself, pretty much?
Pretty much did, yeah. I never lean on those barriers because I'm never there early enough. I usually leave my house about 2 to 3 or 5 minutes before kickoff, whatever. So I've never got a barrier, but I had one last night.
How did it feel?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Supportive.
It was quite strange. Got there, obviously you got all the COVID kind of protocols going on. You have to like rip your ticket and put the bit in the bucket.
So you rip your own ticket?
Yeah.
Put it in the bucket?
No turnstile, just big gates open that you walk out at the end.
Yeah.
Walk in.
That little steward there?
Yep.
Good.
He was it. What's it called? Gerald, I think, isn't he?
Is he?
Chucked that in there. Then one of the stewards, not him, asked me to sanitize my hands.
Okay.
Now I had gloves on.
Okay.
So I showed him. I was like, well, I've got gloves on, so I don't need to sanitize. Surely I don't need to. No, I have to. So I had to take my gloves off.
Right.
Use the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Rub all that in, put the gloves back on.
Okay.
Why?
Gloves weren't sanitized.
I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt here because it's all new and no one really knows. And they've obviously just been told, tell everyone to sanitize their hands. And no one went like, what if they got gloves on? But I can't be the only person there wearing gloves. It's freezing.
Presumably,
Come
very few
on.
people weren't wearing gloves. It was
Common
a cold
sense. A lack of common sense. Really kind of...
And no snacks available?
None of that. Have to bring your own.
Took your own?
Took a flask.
Did it satisfy?
Yeah, it's very nice. It's the nicest coffee I've had at St James's Park in my lifetime, I'll tell you that.
I get through a lot of snacks during the football. I feel I'm going to need some kind of like Wenger-style coat, shoulder to ankle, And like,
Yeah, because you're not allowed to bring a bag either. That's another one of the things.
so I'm going to need to sew in loads of pockets, like pasty pocket, flask pocket, refreshers pocket, Mars bar pocket.
Yeah. Make sure you're prepared.
Gonna be. Don't worry, I'm going to get to work on that later.
So, yeah, but it was good, though. You could hear people sort of shouting.
Okay.
We'll come on to that. Some of it better than others, but that's a good thing on the one hand. Yeah. And, then the game didn't really live up to the kind of occasion, which is sort of one of the things I love about football, really, because like, you know how sort of Sky Sports will sort of like game of the century, kind of like big up a football match, and no matter how much kind of glitz they put on it and how big a kind of TV package they put together, you just can't influence what happens on the pitch. So all that can't stop. It can just be rubbish. It can be a rubbish game, despite all those things, you know. And it was a bit like that. It wasn't that great. It was better second half, but yeah. I mean, Northampton are a horrible team, aren't they?
Yeah, they are really. Yeah, in the mould of Gillingham from just a couple of weeks ago.
The kind of like, I mean, they were good, and you got to hand it to them. Time wasting, that kind of thing. I don't really like it going down if you're tapped.
Yeah.
Anyway, they
it's a weird mix in it of hard man and soft man.
Yeah, totally. It is a strange mix. Yeah. But this is a bit different. Sort of 5 at the back for this one. So it was the 3 centre. We talked about McCardle a bit already. My cousin's husband, and then he had Hartridge and Dyer with him.
Yeah. Okay.
Caprice was in there from the start, and obviously Sparks. And then he also had the other youngster, centre mid. What's he called again?
Kite.
Him playing centre mid, and Law. I know I'm naming the whole lineup. You probably know this already, but but up front was Fisher and Seymour. Now Ben Seymour is the one of those that little young troop of youngsters that is yet to really set the imaginations running.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't kicked on really, has he?
No, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
I mean, let's think about Matt J, of course.
Of course, and we don't. I'm very conscious that we're only a couple of months into this season, and that the ones who have been brilliant might necessarily carry on at that level, and that will be fine. They're only young. It's their first years as pros, and that people like Ben Seymour, it's only a couple of months in, and he might, he'd be an idiot to write him off now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's 21, so it's like you can start to draw some conclusions. I'm not saying he's a kid, and you need to give him all the time in the world. He's not. He's not. He's 21, so. I think the strange thing is you'd expect him to kind of, and you saw this kind of stark contrast with him because it seems to be him or a Jose for the first team at the moment, kind of on the that slot on the bench.
Yeah.
Now a Jose came on for Seymour in the second half, and
25 minutes left. Apparently.
The difference you see, I think, is that Seymour, even though he's quite short, seems to be trying to play like his game seems to be like as if he's kind of like a hold-up striker. So we're almost playing with 2 hold-up strikers there. And like almost trying to win these aerial battles and like ball to feet with his back to goal, which is the same kind of thing that Fisher and Bowman kind of do. Yeah. But yeah, he's a smaller player, and you saw the difference when a Jose came on. Yeah, fair enough. A Jose missed a 1v1 with the keeper. Yeah, but the guy's hardly played. But he's a sort of hang on the shoulder of the last man and run in behind, and it worked immediately. Right. He was in behind with his first touch. That one-on-one was his first touch of the ball. Straight away, he's in behind. Ben Seymour's not making those. He doesn't play that way, and I think I just find that a bit strange that's not more his kind of game really, and it's maybe it'll come. Maybe it'll come. I think I'm definitely not giving up on him, but yeah.
So that was that. I mean, Attangana got a goal for us.
Yeah, scrambling the box, Attangana slotted it away. It's good to see a goal in front of the big bank. It really was.
Yeah.
It's really nice. That's like the kind of best moment of the game, but that's when it kind of really realised. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was good.
So that's the end of John's paper round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it dragged. Last season, it really dragged on, didn't it? We had that kind of like the Portsmouth game, and it was kind of like you kind of got into it because you kind of this sort of feels worthwhile. But I think we're better off without a long run in that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair dues. I mean, there's so many games at the minute anyway, isn't there?
Yeah, bear in mind we're still in the old FA Cup, aren't we?
Indeed we are. So that was that. There were 700 of you there, I believe.
Yeah, so not the huge take up, I think, but
I mean, not bad for the old Paper Johns. But, 700. There should be significantly more on Saturday.
yeah, that one's sold out already, hasn't it?
When we've
So
got...
I think that's 1,200, right, or 1,300.
Yeah, something like that. And that's Tranmere at home, Tranmere Rovers.
Yeah,
I mean, Tranmere, really got dealt a unfortunate blow end of last season on the old points per game that got worked out.
they seem to be. Yeah, were they the biggest victims of that?
They were certainly
one of them. Yeah,
I guess the difference, because you could say kind of we were. There were other teams like us, weren't there? But of course, with promotion, you're either going from automatics into playoffs or you're going from playoffs into nothing. Well, playoffs aren't a guaranteed thing anyway. Whereas with relegation, you're either up or you're down, aren't you?
Yeah.
So they probably were. They probably did suffer the most. I feel for them. They've obviously got designs on going back up. They've got big budget. They've got kind of high aspirations. Obviously, in the past, they've played at a pretty high level and had some
yeah.
pretty phenomenal players.
I mean, they're perfectly. They've been a championship level team, haven't they? For
John Aldridge,
a lot of the last couple of decades, haven't they? Yeah, John Aldridge,
Pat Nevin, all that stuff.
Sponsored by the Wirral.
Yeah, they're still sponsored by the
Just
Wirral.
an area.
Is that still their sponsor?
Don't know.
No, but they've got. Obviously, they've
It's like
always
us being
benefited.
sponsored by, I don't know, Exeter.
We could be. Happens sometimes, doesn't it?
We're just sponsored by the town, by the city.
I guess by the council.
It doesn't say Wirral Council.
No, it doesn't. It says Wirral.
Well, it did.
Tranmere, of course, massively benefit from basically being the third Merseyside club. How they've picked up some big players in the past. They've still got James Vaughan, remarkably, the old Everton striker.
Yeah.
He's past his prime, but obviously he knows what to do with the football. They're now up to, where are they? 10th in the league, I think. So after a fairly slow start, they're now up to 10th. Not that far behind us. And we're now basically level on points, aren't we, with Colchester, who we thumped just a few weeks ago.
And Salford and somebody else who've got kind of games in hand and stuff over us, but it's all kind of
cramped up a bit. So City are down into 5th. Tranmere sitting 10th. They're only 3 points behind us. And then on Tuesday, it's Harrogate Town. I've got no recollection of ever playing them before. I'm not sure if City have. If they have, it was a very long time ago.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember any. Yeah, got nothing.
But they come. So it's the second game we can go to. Or sorry,
Where's
the third.
Harrogate?
It's North Yorkshire.
Oh yeah, I think you talked about this already.
So they're
Very
currently
nice.
playing at either Doncaster or Rotherham. I can't remember where.
What? Not got their own ground?
Their own grounds, not yet.
Oh, it's just a field.
They've got to get the sheep off first.
They've got a field which they share with a load of other Sunday League teams, and now they've got to build something.
Something like that. So anyway, they're coming to St James Park on Tuesday.
I'll tell you what, they see that Taggy's electronic advertising board, it's going to blow their minds.
Really is.
Wow, we've never played in front of something like this before. Lads, we've hit the big time.
I mean, I can see why it feel like the big time. But they've got a big time player with them. The old John Stead, 37, still playing.
Wow.
Been in the Premier League with Sunderland and some others. Still going. I mean, he knows what to do with the football.
Give it up, son.
So that'll be interesting. But they're currently in 17th. I mean, they'll obviously be pleased not to go down again. First season back in the league after years and years and years.
I think they've lost the last couple of games. So hopefully we can get back. We can bounce back like we did after our last loss.
Indeed. We're fairly consistent in our form. Our home form would have us at 6th in the league. Our away form would have us at 9th. I'm not sure how overall that means we're in 5th, but there we are. That's some mystery to me. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're still scoring an awful lot of goals. I'd be very interested to see how Taylor addresses the defensive problems.
Yeah.
Or if he doesn't.
It will
like
be
you
interesting.
said.
I expect to see the same, I mean, fitness aside, or injuries or whatever, I expect to see the same team, actually, that played
Cheltenham
at the weekend, just because I think that's one that's been... I don't think there's much else you can do, obviously, and I think that's probably been our best side in other games.
Do we know when to expect Lewis Ward on the bench?
No idea, no. No. Or Lewis Page.
No, because he got injured again at Gillingham, didn't he?
Yeah, not heard anything from them.
You know, I think that might do us well. It's his ankle, I believe, Lewis Ward.
Right.
But I don't know much more than that. I mean, I confess, I think it was when he went over on his ankle, wasn't it? And they thought it was really bad.
That's right. He was
I think it's still from that.
It is. Yeah,
Okay.
we were about to sub him off, weren't they, for the young guy, Jack Arthur?
Yeah, that's right.
And then we didn't. He played on, and then it turned out no, he is injured, and hasn't played since. So then that's why we had Anderson, and then because Maxted was injured too. But now
Maxted was injured before that, wasn't
now
he?
Maxted's back.
So that was
Maxted's
6 weeks
back.
ago.
All right.
Yes, that popular hit single. That was 6 weeks ago that Ward did that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Big old do. That pretty much gets us up to speed with the comings and goings at the park. Something really disappointing in the news. I don't know if you saw anything of this at the time, Dan, but someone, obviously from the home support last night, given that that's the only people that were there, said something to one of the Northampton players. I think the assumption is it was racist in nature, although I don't think that's been clarified.
Some sort of discriminatory remark was
got
made,
reported by the player to the ref.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? It really is. That's one of us. As much as you don't want to lump yourself in, we literally are. Everyone is in the same group. So it's just disappointing. You're 9 months away. You can't go to a football match. You'd think you'd just be pleased to go back there, and yet someone thinks you just marvel at it, don't you? Sometimes what goes through these people's heads.
It's just, embarrassing and depressing and horrifying in kind of equal measure. I'd really like to see, it won't be hard to identify the person given that you also spread out. I'd love to see, I'm not into banning people. I think you ban a racist, they go down the pub and they're racist there instead. I'd love to see, and I think these kind of things exist, supportive courses where you can help people to see why what they've done is hurtful, discriminatory, hideous.
I don't know how you deal with it. I tend to agree that probably almost all the time with anything like this, more education is the answer.
Yeah.
Hopefully, something happens. Yeah, because you push them away. I'm not sure that helps to change anyone's mind, does it?
No.
And that's ultimately what you want to happen. But I don't know. It's just so you pray for it basically to not happen. Please don't let one of our supporters do anything this stupid when you see some other people doing it. It's just so embarrassing. And then we've not been doing the taking the knee thing, so that's another thing I was kind of a bit tentative about. But I'm not sure I don't know what goes on with that, or whether it's a league thing the League Two doesn't do, or certain teams don't do. Anyway.
I'll be honest, I don't watch any other League Two.
No, me neither. So we've not been doing it, but I don't know. It's not just last night, so it's not like we stopped doing it after the incident that was at Millwall. We haven't been doing it for a while, but I don't know what that's about. But even without that, you kind of got, you still have someone who still thinks that's okay to do, and it's just you're mad. And you think that after all this time away from not being able to go do something that you supposedly enjoy, you would just be happy to be there, and you wouldn't,
Yeah.
I'm all for the terrace humour and giving people a bit of stick and the ref and whatnot. It's all part of it, but there has to be a line where and that is very firmly the line. I don't know. I can't really think of anything else to say on it, really. Yeah.
No, I think that's what you need to say. If anyone else wants to say anything, you can get in touch with us about any of this stuff in all the normal ways, of course. On email, we're bigbankpod@gmail.com. On Twitter, we're @bigbankpod. And you can find us on Facebook, the Big Bank Theory Podcast. We'd love to hear from you on any of that stuff. Hopefully, we'll get to see some of you up the Big Bank on Saturday and Tuesday. We'll be there. I'll be there. You'll be there.
Yep.
Hopefully, lots of you can get there as well. Obviously, those of you who aren't there yet, I hope you get back there soon. You feel safe and comfortable and all that stuff. Yeah, it's exciting times, I think.
I hope so. I don't want to get... I'm always a bit kind of wary of getting too ahead of ourselves. You never know what's going to happen around the corner, do you? But I really hope it's the beginning of everybody being able to go back and it returning to normal eventually.
And we all know what normal means. It means I'll be sat in Reading services eating a consolation burrito when we've been knocked out of the playoffs at Wembley again. So, I mean, when we get to that level of normal...
Okay, can we have the new normal? Is that something different?
No, we cannot. It's consolation burritos all round. Thanks, everyone, for listening. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague, Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.